Being a part of Let's Talk, brought to you by Grace Enterprise. I want to talk about Black Wall Street, if I can, and the significance of Black Wall Street. Um, I thought of just, off this subject was just, I look back at Donald Trump and I thought about his slogan, make American great again. And if I want to just, I'm going to tag on that and just call this little discussion, Make America Great. But we're going to be talking about Black Wall Street. And I don't know if you ever really paid attention to your history or actually really study your history. But you'll find out about Tulsa, Oklahoma. And with Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the 1921s, they had um, their own division and they had their own district, which was called Greenwood. And in Greenwood, this consists of 34 square blocks of nothing but um, black businesses. Not only that, thinking of 35 square blocks, just think about 4 miles. So, in other words, there's 4 miles of nothing but black owned businesses, black owned businesses as such as dentistry, such as movie theaters, nightclubs. They had their own grocery store. They had their own school. I mean, Greenwood back then was the Greenwood that we should have today. Greenwood was jumping, honestly, because you had to think about it. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, yeah, you had you had mostly your white folks, in the city part, but it was a great thing to have black folks had their own little division making money. And you got to understand the money dynamics of this thing is because as far as making money, they was booming. As far was think of this. Every dollar that was put in got flipped 36 times. That $1 got flipped 36 times. And it was just wonderful. I mean, everybody that had a helping hand or everybody that had a business was not a broke business like this economy today. I mean, you think about the black owned businesses today, usually and ironically, they're being obsolete. They're becoming I think it was like this. It became it was once before, like for a year it was popping, but now it's old news as far as black businesses. And I can be honest with you and say that it has a point. It has a part of us as black folks, and it takes a part of the white folks also. And what I mean by that is, if Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that black community, black back then, would have actually stuck it through all the way and actually, through all the lies, and I'm gonna get through, get to the outcome and how everything broke down. But as far as Greenwood, like if everyone would have put their money in and everyone would have stayed there, I believe, regardless of the white folks, I honestly believe that it would have beneficiated everyone. But black folks and white folks at that point in time, they really couldn't. They got along. If you look at the history, they got along to the point where if you get your business over there and I put my business over here, and as long as you don't mess with my business over here, I'm not gonna mess with your business over there. And it was that type of relationship back then. Yeah, I don't like you. I feel some type of way about you, but yet I'm going to still let you, because back then white folks had that privilege, and that white privilege, and that you can see that to this day. So back then, I mean, they felt like it was you had to obey my rules, obey my laws, and leave me alone. And as long as you do that, I'll leave you alone. And so Greenwood became rich. Everybody, like I said before, everybody in that had a helping hand, they got some money. They wasn't no broke people. But yet, if you read and study it, it was one lie that destroyed the whole community. And what I mean by one lie is in May 31st of 1921, there was a guy named Dick Rowland. And Dick Rowland, if you study Dick Rowland, he was a shoe shiner. He was a young man shoe shining, just trying to make ends meet, trying to make some money. Do what he got to do. And so one day, Rowland, he had to use the bathroom, so he went ahead and took a break from shoe shining and went up to this building next door. And the bathroom he had to take the elevator to go to the bathroom, so the bathroom was upstairs. And while he was in the elevator, as he was getting on in the elevator, a girl at the time named Sarah Page. Sarah Page and Dick Rowland, it never, in history, Page never said what actually took place in that elevator. But according to Rowland, he just, said, hey, asked the woman how was she doing, and it really left the whole conversation alone, because at that point in time, he already knew that, I can't really say too much and not get any backlash out of it. So my point of view, since it's my podcast, my point of view was, I feel like that Sarah was trying to come on to Rowland, and Rowland wasn't having that. And so Rowland told her and try to, die down or fix the situation. And Paige got mad and wasn't having that. And that's where the lie come from. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Because I'm just thinking, like, while I was studying this, like, how in the world can just this all happen? I mean, what was it? Was it Paige just coming up in her mind, like, okay, was she bored? What did she want attention? Did somebody put her up to this? Like, that's what my thought was, to be honest with you, when I first studied this thing about Black Wall Street. Was I felt like that there had to be some somebody in her family or somebody that she was close knit to say, hey, look, you see that boy over there shoe shining? When he get up, because he usually go to the bathroom right around the same time every day. So when he get up, you see him, you follow him up to the elevator, and you say that he sexually assaults you, come tell us, and we handle it from there. I believe that's what happened. Because I just can't fathom in my mind of how did this girl just wake up one in the morning and just say, hey, it's time to get a nigga now. Time to put a nigga in jail. So I mean, like I said, that's just me. And nobody, like I said, nobody knows what really happened. And Roland, the way he says it in his point of view, that in his eyes, it was just innocent. It was just a straight, hey, how you doing, Justin? That was it. And Paige turned into a whole disagreement, whole debacle about the situation. And I was just thinking, like, isn't it amazing how with us black folks, and especially, isn't it amazing how we allow one lie to stop our future? We allow one thing, and I'm not saying that this one lie stopped their future in Black Wall Street. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, as talking into a 2022 year, that we have allowed lies to stop our progress. Lies with family members, lies with employees, lies with community, but we allow these lies to stop us from growing as a community, as a black people, into the next dimension or next level that we should be going to. Because I really feel like that out of all this time that we've been on this earth, that this is not the life of just paying bills and just existing. This is not the life that we was called to be or was called to do. And I feel like that it lies, or I wouldn't say all the way lies, or half truths, or hiding the truth, stopped us from finding the real truth and to move and to grow in that truth. It has stopped us. I mean, let's be honest. Everything that we have done, if it was a lie, or we found out that it had been untrue, or was found out that, it was some type of other situation with it, we stop. It's like this. It's like this. We have dreams, we have goals, and we have accomplishments that we want all in life. But we allow our life circumstances to stop us. And usually the life circumstance is either we can't fix it, we got to allow God to do it, or we try to find other resources or other things to fix the situation. But you're in this situation, and to be honest, the only thing that is stopping you is from the thought process that you have about the certain situation. And sometimes that we can overthink a thing, and it becomes a lie instead of the truth. So in other words, we believe in lies instead of going to reach the truth, and we bind ourselves up in the lie. So I mean, everything happened in Black Wall Street as far as after um Roland and Page got into the altercation or disagreement, excuse me. If you keep reading, Roland, after he was accused, after Page ran out out of the elevator, he ran home. He ran home, and reportedly 2 days later, or the next day, he was arrested. And you should believe, I mean, you wouldn't believe all the charges that he was arrested for. I mean, he had felony, he had unlawful, he had felony assault, he had attempted rape. They threw a lot of things back in June 6th of 1921. They threw a lot of things on him just over one lie. Just over one lie. And it's crazy because we can be so caught up in the lie, we miss the truth, and we begin to be stuck where we're at. So after that happened, he got arrested. The courthouse. The courthouse, you know, back then black folks believe in sticking together. So they knew that Dick Rowland was at the courthouse. He was at the jailhouse. So we're going to see about it. We're going to see, can we get some justice for him? And when the white folks found out, they met the black folks at the courthouse. And it reportedly says that some gunshot, because, the crowd got rowdy. So a gunshot popped off. Nobody knows where it came from. But folks died right there at the courthouse. And the police was so whitish, if I can say this, or racist, that they allowed this to happen at the courthouse, on the courthouse steps. They allowed it to happen. Because already, I'm giving you this property or giving you this area, but like I said before, I really don't like you. You niggers need to leave. Get on about your business. Go back to where you came from. Go back. Go back. We don't like you. So the police allowed this to happen. Soon as the gunshots popped off, the black folks ran back to Greenwood, back to their little town. And when they got there, well, while they was getting there, the white folks got wind of it and they met them there. And right there in their town, when those black men and women and children got back to their city, got back to their little town, they was met with fire. It was met with killing. They were met with beating. You have to visualize this. You've been humiliated at the courthouse. You was trying to find justice or trying to get justice for one of your people, only to come home and folks are burning your house. Folks are burning your businesses down. And it takes me, because takes me in the Bible where David and Ziklag, they were having trouble. And David got back to the city and found out that everything was been burnt down, and his mama and his wife and kids was taken away, and his enemy was dancing and parading and rejoicing over David's suffering. put it 2022 terms, that's what is happening now. And that's what happened back then in Greenwood. They left the courthouse, go into the house, find out my business has been burned. And reportedly, 300 people died in their own community. And over 800 was injured. You think about it. All this happened over one lie. How? Over one lie? So that as a result of the burning of the city, 9,000 to 10,000 people became homeless. You think about it. Because it never showed or never reported how many people was just living in Greenwood. But we could say just 10,000 people. Just in that 35 square block area. 9,000 of them to 10,000 of them was homeless. Meaning the white folks burned the city down, burned the town down to the point that it was inhabitable. And if you look at it today, in the low-income housing areas or the low-income cities, small businesses, especially Black businesses, instead of being burnt down now because it's against the law for arsoning, no. They send eviction papers to the city, to the business. Oh no. There's different ways now that they get businesses. They don't want you in their city. And instead of me taking a match because what happened is if you read, the white folks took kerosene and lit the whole town up. So instead of these white folks down lighting it up with kerosene or gasoline, they're steady going to the courthouse. And while they're going to the courthouse, they're drawing up them papers. Because legally, if I can throw enough law on you, I can shut your business down. Legally, because let's be honest, a lot of Black folks really didn't learn how to read back then. And let's be honest some more, even to today, Black folks really don't know how to read that good. You put the average Black student that lives in the hood, and you test him on his reading level. I promise you it's below 11th, 12th, or 10th grade level. Why? Because I thought about it like this the other day. When I was in high school, or when I was in middle school, they didn't really teach you about reading. I mean, granted, you had spelling words, spelling tests, that just giving you familiarization of different words. But it was never a reading. It was never, practicing or teaching us how to not only articulate words, but to actually spell them out, to actually know what they are, and how to put them in a sentence. We ain't learned too much of that. And now I see why we didn't learn too much of that, and they didn't want us to learn so much of that. Because if you Negroes got smart enough, you'll realize that you got more rights than an average person or the average human being. That you'll find out that you own, or your ancestors really do own, this land that we took from you all. You will understand that yeah, we did you wrong. Yeah, we should have put you out in that field, and we owe you some reparations. But instead, doing all that, they burn the cities down. They burn your house down. They foreclose on your house now. Excuse me. They foreclose on your house. They put eviction notices out. They send a sheriff out there. You gotta understand this, people. That an old player, I used to hear an old player say that the game never changed. It's just the players. And I never really understood that until now. That the game really stays the same. The way that they treated us back then is the same way they're treating us now. Just new people. And when you got new people, you got people that does things a little bit differently. So just like the Constitution in states and on the federal level, that's why the words are big. The way they use the words in the sentence. Because if you ain't gonna read it, like the law, read the law. Basically, the law says the law applies to you if you know it. But if it doesn't, then basically to hell with it. That's basically one of the laws of the land. And I believe that was strictly designed for black folks. Or for African, for us as black folks. I mean, nothing changed, just the players. But we are still getting treated the same way. I mean, think about it. And even in some states, think about it. Even in some states, slavery still existed. That's another podcast, but slavery still exists in five. Well, they say it's six of them, 6 states. Yesterday had slavery on the ballot, like we're still in the 1921s. Nothing's changed, people. That's why we have to get on top of our game when it comes to learning history, learning where we really came from. Because can I be honest with you all? Everybody that's black ain't from Africa, okay? That rub in your spirit some. That everybody that call themselves black ain't from Africa. Do you honestly know that Africans don't even like themselves being called Africans because of the atrocities that they have endured? So they don't even want to call, they don't want you to call them black or African. All of us didn't come there. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Just like, can I rubber some feathers? Everybody wasn't slaves either. We'll get to that in another podcast because I want to talk about North Carolina, and because I feel like the way my mind is set up, and we're gonna get back to this, but the way my mind is set up, I feel like that if you got Jews, so-called Jews, Jewish people, excuse me, Jewish people that are running the United States, there's always a middleman in things. So always in my mind, in the back of my mind, I just want to know, like, so who is the individuals that run the states that goes and communicates to the one that runs the United States? So we get go to that. We'll get to that on the next podcast or on one of these seasons. I mean, on one of these episodes. But we're gonna get to it. We're gonna talk about North Carolina because there are some slaveries and there are some questions I gotta ask, and there's some questions I want to know that I really got about different states. But anyway, so we basically talked about the game ain't changed, man. It's just the players. So now we looking in cities now. You can tell the white folks from the niggas, which means in my little town, if I go, what is about 5 or 6 miles down the road versus where I'm at now, it's a whole different community. Even in the cities, in the city part, you look at the school districts. Oh, it's a totally different thing. If you understood where your tax dollars was going and how it was being spent, you will wake up and first of all, you'll change and vote and get these people out of the election and get these people out of office. But then you'll learn that people was against us for the longest. And in order for us to be grown as people, we have to learn how to embrace and how to encourage and how to do for each other. These black businesses, man, they're failing. And not only they're failing, because I mean, I'm a business owner myself, and before the podcast, before the preaching, I was doing photography. Fell in love with it. Totally in love with it. But I noticed that every time I try to go get a loan, the bank would deny me. And it will frustrate me. But yeah, I got the clientele, but I want to be that person that if I can get the white folks on board, start taking more pictures of them, start getting more clientele of them, then I can gain the capital I need to start my business and start doing it in schools or getting different contracts. But what disturbed me and what made me, and I regret it to this day, but what made me stop doing what I was doing is because of the denial. So I get it when it comes to black folks and trying to start up businesses because banks and lenders make it hard for black folks. So I get it. And not only photography, then I went to I started my own business doing stage lights and cameras and all that in buildings, in commercial buildings, or in churches, and made money, making profit, banking $12,000 a month, banking it easy. But when I try to put my black dollar in that white bank and try to get a loan from that white bank, I was denied. And then I seen my business, even though I'm still doing it on the side, I seen my business die down a little bit. If you're a business owner, maybe you understand. I wasn't getting customers like I used to. I couldn't get the building like I wanted because I felt like that. And I honestly believe if I got the business out my house and into a business where, or into a building where, you know, I'm respected as a business owner, I felt like that I'd get more, or the more attention, or more, just the more. And I'm not saying all that just to have an excuse, because both of these businesses are still running and still have ownership, both of them. And now I got a podcast and working on bringing Grace of Goldsboro into Goldsboro, and starting. We're in the works of a lot of things, especially with food drives and everything. But I understand when it comes to businesses, because, like I said, they've been doing this for a long time. They've been trying to stop our flow for a long time. But I believe this is the year, or this is the time that we should actually bust a move. Because I noticed that we bust moves, but we don't break nothing. Okay, that was good. That was good. You can't even lie. We bust moves. We'll bust a move on you, but we ain't broke no barriers yet. We ain't broke no levels yet. We show up and let you know that we're there. But in our minds, we have been dummied down, so we don't feel like we should be even in the party or in the mix with you. I mean, that's just my thought. But I do want to say this for the business owners, that even though you have a business and it's not looking so good, don't give up. Don't give up. Do not give up at all. The worst thing, or the best thing that you can do for the enemy is to give up. So don't give up. I don't care how many no's you done, folks done told you, banks done told you, loan people done told you, credit card people done told you. Still keep doing it. Eventually, God is going to open the door of a yes. So that's just my thought. But back to this whole Black Wall Street. So like I said, I get it. They burnt the places down. And in if I read this right, in 1925, almost 4 years later, there was people that rebuild. There was still people that was left there in Greenwood after after Greenwood had been burnt down. There were still people there that rebuild. Even though it wasn't like it was before, because a lot of people have left, and you got to understand 9,000 and 10,000 people was homeless, they still rebuild, which tells me that even though we as Black folks fall, even though we as Black folks has been denied, we still have to rebuild. And then I had to understand why they had to rebuild. And they had to rebuild because they had to leave a legacy. That's the problem with our black folks now, that we don't never try to leave no legacy. Can I be honest with you? Like right, real talk. We got young folks dying every day, and I'm done with Black Wall Street. But we got young folks dying every day. The Bible says you live by the sword, you will die by that sword. And we got black folks playing with their lives and black young men playing with their lives every day. And no one leaves a legacy. You done brought all these children into the world. You done all this, and you still ain't you still don't have a legacy. Everybody in the hood know you as the biggest dope drug dealer. Everybody, all your baby mamas know who their baby daddy is. But you known in the streets, banging that 5 or banging that 6. I don't know what you're doing. Banging that 5 or banging that 6. That's your legacy. And I want to tell you, that is the dumbest. Absolutely dumbest thing that will ever come. You need a legacy. It's crazy how these young folks die and we go to their funerals, and the only thing that people really got something to say or nice to say is when you was a kid. They bypassed everything what you did as an adult, and because they knew you wasn't a ain't nigga, so they already knew. So the only memory they had of you was when you was young. Go out there and feed the community. Go out there and cut some grass. Go out there and pass some clothes out. Pass some food out. Be in your community. We're so wired because we've been running all like the world. You don't understand how the world is. It designs us to keep us from inside of our home, to keep us outside, just like slavery did. But you don't understand how legacy is so important. Don't nobody know you, but you the nigga that selling that good weed. Don't nobody really know you, but know that you carry that pistol around on you. And then the kids, they growing up asking uncle or asking mama, how was daddy really is? How was it before he died or got shot? What is your baby mama? What is your wife? What is your fiance? What are they going to say about you? Or are you so wrapped up in the fast money that you don't even really, it's sad. And it's sad. And I'm just, I'm speaking my mind. Like, it's sad how we don't think about life insurance. We don't think about legacy. And we don't think about 401ks. We don't think about none of this. And it's sad. I'm going to be honest with you. It's sad to see that somebody, young man, died living by a code, that a code don't give a darn about you, but living by that code. Die, and we got to do a GoFundMe page. What kind of mess is that? And if you look at it, all on social media, it ain't nobody but us doing it. White folks got their mess together. Asians got their mess together. The Mexicans got their mess together. But we the only people that don't think about life after this for your loved ones. Now we trying to raise $5,000 to bury your tail. And which I feel some type of way that I got to take $5,000 to bury you when you had $5,000 the whole time and ain't try to change no type of community or nothing. You was all about self. Now you need a community help to bury you. So I feel some type of way about that. We as Black folks have to do better. And it starts within home. We can't allow no lie to stop us from our destiny. We just can't do it. And we done, we have done it all these years, and now it's really time for us to cut it out, help one another, and move forward. It's a wake-up call, y'all. It's a wake-up call. And it's a wake-up call with me. It's a wake-up call with me. Because it's really teaching me, and I'm really learning how I should really treat my neighbors. And then it's teaching me how the church, or my church, I'm not going to say about everybody, because that's another podcast, but my church, besides serving the Lord, we're going to do it all day long, but we're going to serve the community too. We got to be a helping hand. Black folks, we got to do better. We really, really have to do better. So, it was just my thoughts for the night. That, we've been lied to. Yeah, we've been beat on. Yeah, we've been killed. Yeah, we've been kicked out of our own city and town. But we have to do like them folks did in 1925. We got to rebuild. There ain't no way around it. We have to rebuild, and we have to move on. Now, what you mean? We done been through hell and high waters for over 40 years, and you talk about move on. I understand all that. We're going to get to that. I promise you, we're going to get to that. Because I honestly believe we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But for right now, for us, our starting point, first of all, we got to pick up a book and read about our history. Not only read about our history, make a change about our history. So that we won't repeat the same thing that is in history. That we learn how to progress. We got to do better, man. We got to do better. So when Donald Trump said "Make America Great Again," I'm about to close the podcast. But when Donald Trump said "Make this America Great Again," the only time that I thought that America was great is back in Greenwood Land, back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. For that brief period of time, that's when America was great. And not saying that, how can you say America is great when it was just one city? There's a lot of history that was never told. So I'm pretty sure, just because it was just in Tulsa, we know, I'm pretty sure there's more stories. For instance, North Carolina, there was 300,000 people, Black folks, in just this one state. In the one city that they was in, there was more. It was in Halifax County. So you mean to tell me Just because we know about Tulsa, them 300,000 folks didn't do nothing? Or is that what we just know? Is that all we know? So when the America was only great when we was actually prospering, when we were actually putting our dollars in the market of black business owners, when we were actually going forth and helping each other out. That's when we was great. That's what we need to get back to. The basics. A lending a helping hand. Not letting people tell you no when you're trying to grow and trying to develop and trying to make a name for yourself and your business. We're going to talk about money matters. We're going to talk about a lot of things because we're also going to talk about sovereignty. That's what I'm studying right now, being a national sovereignty. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but I appreciate you for listening to me. I appreciate you for just, it's just my thoughts that we could do better if we stop taking no for the end result. Because if we start doing that, we'll understand who we are. And if we understand who we are, we understand what we can do. And if we can understand what we can do, we can accomplish a lot of things. Hey, we should make America. We should make America great again.